get set up for our demo, think of anybody is welcome, and you're going to, if you'd like to do a short demo, it will be short, about 20 minutes at most.
Quizás puedan escribir sus comentarios en el chat, que va a ser más rápido, y mientras tanto quizás alguien quiera pensar en si quiere participar en esta demostración. Va a ser más o menos de 20 minutos. Si hay algún voluntario o voluntarias para la demostración.
And Vera, they will tell you in the chat if they want to do the demo.
They can raise hand, so you can
Raise hands.
Yeah, down at the menu at the bottom of your screen.
Los que quieran ofrecerse para hacer la demostración pueden usar la opción de levantar la mano.
You can you can find the participants, and there should be a blue hand where you can raise, and we already have someone who has volunteered.
Okay.
¿Ya hay alguien que se ha ofrecido?
Oh, someone is being very clear that, yeah, we actually have an hour left. I'm sorry. Thank you for alerting me to this.
Good.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused with the times today.
I'm glad we have an hour.
Oh, me too.
Needed.
I'm sorry.
Vera está diciendo que no tenemos 40 minutos, que tenemos una hora, que se confundió con los tiempos.
Yes,
So let's
that's
have
good.
just a couple of comments as we're, and then we'll go into our demo. So anybody that wants to speak, Vera, you'll call on them. Just
Would you like to have comments first? Sorry, go ahead,
Yes.
Nathy.
We'll have some comments as we're getting ready to do our demo, and then we'll do
Así que los que quieran hacer algún comentario, vamos a dar un ratito para hacer comentarios y preguntas.
So if you have comments, you can put your hand up via the participants down at your bottom. If you cannot, just send me a comment in the chat and I will call on you from there.
Si tienen algún comentario, pueden levantar la mano. Si no logran usar esa opción de levantar la mano, pueden enviarle un mensaje a Vera y ella lo va a hacer.
I see a hand of Karen Whalen, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Lynn, shall I share something?
Yes, please, please.
I sent something in the chat and I said something like, this feels so familiar to me and I want to hear more. And what came to me...
Sorry, Karen, leí algo en el chat y pensé, uy, esto es tan familiar para mí, así que quería comentar sobre eso.
And what I'm so struck by is I feel like I'm invited there into your art studio.
Lo que me sorprendió y me asombró es que me siento invitada a tu estudio de arte.
And I have this feeling of movement in my heart space that you're creating a we space with all of us. And
tengo esta sensación de movimiento en mi corazón, de que estás creando este espacio de nosotros, con todos nosotros.
And thank you. I hope one day to have the opportunity to work with you, to be guided by you, to meet you fully in this way.
Y espero tener la oportunidad en algún momento de ser guiada por vos, de compartir algo con vos. Gracias.
Yes, I hope so too, Karen.
También espero esto, Karen.
I just want to say that all of you are welcome to come to our helpers group on Monday mornings. It's open to everybody. And Karen, maybe, I don't know if the time would work out, but we'll put in the chat.
Quiero decirles a todos que están bienvenidos, son bienvenidos al grupo que tenemos los lunes. Ahora voy a poner la información en el chat.
That invitation, it's help for helpers on Monday mornings. But that idea of making an us with all of us, the we space for all of us is so important. Thank you. And
Esa
maybe,
idea de hacer un nosotros, con todos nosotros, es tan importante. Gracias.
maybe we can just feel that for a minute. This big us that we are, not only those of us present, but those of us who will watch the video, those of us at the conference, those of us all, out of this big us that we are right now.
Quizás podamos dejarnos sentir esto, esta sensación de ese nosotros. No solo nosotros los que estamos acá, sino nosotros los que van a estar viendo esta conferencia grabada, y no solo eso, sino todos nosotros.
And when I'm doing the demo, it isn't just me and the other person.
Y
It's
cuando yo haga la demostración, no va a ser solo yo, no voy a ser solo yo y la otra persona, vamos a ser todos nosotros.
okay, let's have one more comment.
Tengamos un comentario más.
I was wondering, Marianne, would you like to come on screen and share yours, or should I just read yours?
Read it, yeah. It's okay.
Okay. So I like how you invited the client to participate in building the relational home.
Marianne dice, me gusta cómo invitaste al cliente a participar en construir este hogar relacional.
Yes, it isn't, therapy isn't something that one person gives to or does to another person.
La terapia no es algo que alguien da o que hace por otro.
It's this dance between us that we're leading and following.
Es esta danza entre nosotros mismos que estamos siguiendo.
Okay, I think I think that we will start with the demo and have more comments afterwards.
Creo que vamos a empezar con la demostración y tener más comentarios después.
Okay, so there's someone who was volunteering before. Are you still up for it? Yes, okay. So is it Jeffrey or Heidi? I don't know. There's two of you on one screen. Just you're muted.
It's Jeffrey.
Okay, great.
I'm Jeffrey.
So for the demonstration, I will give some
Hay un-
instructions.
Ya hay un voluntario, va a ser Jeffrey.
So, so that we can only see Lynn and Jeffrey and Nati on the screen, we will need everyone to turn their screens off. I mean, your video off. Also, Lynn, Nati, and Jeffrey, do this first,
Okay.
so that you can only see
Para
each other.
que puedan estar en la pantalla solo Lynn, Jeffrey y yo, la idea es que todos apaguemos las cámaras.
So
We
Lynn,
turn our-
Lynn, yeah, just turn your camera off for this procedure, and then I'll tell you when you can put it back on. Also, Carlos, can you turn your video off, and Jeffrey as well? And then when you have done this, you can click in someone else's
Carlos,
picture.
sorry. Carlos, ¿podrías por favor apagar tu cámara? Gracias.
When you have turned off your camera,
Una vez que hayan apagado sus cámaras,
click in someone else's picture and find the three dots.
cliquen en la ventana de cualquier otra persona en los 3 puntitos de arriba.
And then you will find hide non-video participants.
Y ahí van a encontrar la opción de ocultar a los participantes que no tienen video.
And I do that too.
Yes, please. And Jeffrey. And Nati.
Yes.
Sharon, you need to have your own camera off first. Then click in someone else's. Yes.
Mine doesn't say.
So click in someone else's, click in my window, for instance, the 3 dots. And
Yeah,
then at the bottom, almost at the bottom, hide non-video participants.
okay, got it.
Okay. And now when you've done that, you can put your own video back on. And Jeffrey and Nati, and then only the 3 of you should appear on the screen.
Wonderful. Very good. There's a couple of other people on the screen. We have Sharon, and now we don't. Okay, very good.
I will
Bien.
also put the instructions in the chat.
Ok, Vera va a poner las instrucciones en el chat también.
Okay, I think we're ready.
Creo que estamos listos.
I say how happy I am. Who wouldn't want to focus with Lynn?
Oh, qué feliz que estoy. ¿Quién no querría hacer focusing con Lynn?
And a little nervous to focus in front of so many.
Y un poco nervioso de hacer focusing en frente a tantas personas.
I used to love how Jean would say, well, this is just for you. If they want to show something, they'll get another demo for that. But this is just, and I would say, of course, this is just for us.
Mm.
It's for you and it's for us. And we don't know what will be.
Right.
Jen Lynn decía que esto es solo para nosotros. Si alguien más quiere que haga otra demostración. Y esto en este momento es para nosotros.
For me, it's always a little bit nervous, that moment of we don't know what's on the other side of the
Para mí-
door we're stepping through.
Mm.
Para mí siempre me da un poco de nervios ese momento de todavía no saber qué es lo que está viniendo.
Yes. And knowing that it hasn't always been safe.
Y saber que no siempre ha sido seguro.
That's the big challenge, is that stepping through the door, that door hasn't always been safe.
Mm.
Ese es el gran desafío, que atravesar esa puerta no siempre ha sido seguro.
It's taking a risk.
Es tomar un riesgo.
I feel some activation having said that, and it felt good to have said that.
Siento una activación ya por haber dicho eso y me alegro de haber dicho eso.
Acknowledging this, that
Mm.
feels that it's a risk.
Mm.
Reconociendo esto, que es un riesgo.
And that part about it hasn't been always safe is important.
Y esa parte de que no siempre ha sido seguro es importante.
I was explaining some of the tightness around stepping through that door, and that I immediately felt softer having said it. So yes.
Estaba explicando algo de lo que se había puesto rígido por traspasar esa pared, y el hecho de haberlo nombrado ya alivió.
Now here we are.
Mm.
Aquí estamos nosotros.
Just an acknowledgement of that. We're stepping through this door and here we are together.
Un reconocimiento de eso. Estamos pasando por esa puerta. Aquí estamos juntos.
And yeah, well, I volunteered knowing I've been at this conference and I've had the question, do I belong, this whole 3 days?
En esta conferencia me he hecho esta pregunta: ¿pertenezco durante estos 3 días?
What a profound question that is. Do I belong here?
¿Qué pregunta profunda es esta? ¿Pertenezco aquí?
And hearing a kind voice talk about finding a communal sense of home, I think made me want to volunteer.
Y escuchando esa voz cálida, hablando sobre esto, estar en nosotros y esta relacionar, agradezco haberme ofrecido como voluntario.
I'm really touched by that. I can feel that inside, that longing to belong.
Mm.
And then my talking about a relational home was something in you wanted it, wanted to come forward.
Me conmovió eso que nombraste al hablar yo del hogar relacional, y algo en vos que quería venir aquí, quería ofrecer.
Even though it hasn't always been.
Mm.
Aunque no siempre ha sido seguro.
So I can find that longing in my chest and a tightening.
Puedo encontrar ese deseo en mi pecho y también algo que se está como poniendo más duro.
The longing and the tightening.
Mi
The
deseo
two sides.
y el ponerse más duro. Los dos lados.
What comes to me is the hope and the dread.
Mm.
Lo que viene a mí es la esperanza y el temor.
It's more of a fear or a panic than a dread.
Mm,
It's a high-pitched energy and it's a tightening.
Es más un pánico que un miedo, es algo que se está poniendo como duro.
Yeah, it's sharper than a dread. It's a high-pitched
Mm.
Es
energy, a frightened.
And
una energía de alta calidad, es algo que está con miedo.
And it's wrapping clear around the longing. The longing's like a cylinder, and this energy, this activated
El
energy.
deseo
Mm.
es como un cilindro aquí adentro, y esto que se está activando,
And it's uncomfortable.
Oh
y
yeah,
es incómodo.
yeah. The longing is in the center and the frightened is wrapped around it.
El deseo está en el centro y lo temeroso está alrededor.
And the longing is obscured.
It's obscured.
El deseo está oscurecido.
And yet you feel it, but not see it.
Y sin embargo lo sentís y no lo ves.
It's hidden.
And the panicked energy rises up to hide it.
Uh-huh. Yeah. The panicked energy rises up to hide it.
La energía de pánico se levanta para ocultarlo,
To protect you.
para protegerte.
Let me ask it.
Déjame preguntarle.
The panic has subsided some. It's not holding us tight.
El pánico ya no está tan fuerte.
I could really get a sense of how scared it was. And then,
Realmente pude sentir cuán temeroso estaba.
and then it's a little bit less, and you opened your eyes.
Y ahora está menos. Y abriste tus ojos.
So I'm asking the panic part if I can speak for the longing.
Mm.
Estoy preguntando a la parte del pánico si puedo hablar por el deseo.
Not happy about it.
No está feliz por eso.
It's kind of saying, fine, see what happens.
Como que dice, bueno, dale, a ver qué pasa.
Maybe we can ask it if it needs something first.
Quizás podemos preguntarle si necesita algo.
Does it need us to be in some way first before
Necesita que
longing
nosotros,
can speak?
necesita que nosotros estemos de alguna manera especial antes de que ese deseo pueda hablar.
It doesn't trust. It doesn't trust you. It just doesn't trust the situation.
Yes.
No,
yes,
no,
yes.
no confía en vos, no confía en la situación.
Mm. And how does it feel to say that truth?
¿Cómo se siente diciendo esto, diciendo esa verdad?
That was calm. I feel calmer with that.
Yeah, it's a true. I felt this shift when you said it.
Mm.
Sentí este cambio cuando lo dijiste.
That's the us right now.
Este es el nosotros.
I
ahora
don't
mismo.
trust you.
No,
when I don't trust
no
the
confío en vos, Liz. No confío en esta situación.
How was it that I said yet?
Mm.
Is that okay with it that I
Oh, that you said yet.
said
Mhm.
yet? I don't trust you yet.
It's okay.
¿Cómo fue que yo dijera no confío en vos todavía?
It lets me say that.
Me permite
lets
decir
you-
esto.
Yeah, something about you and I see that panic part, and
Mhm,
that validates it. That feels good to it. So it's okay with the yet.
mhm, mhm.
Hay algo del hecho de que vos y yo hayamos visto esta parte de pánico. Hace que el todavía que dijiste esté bien.
So yeah, so what I want you to say the part about the us again, because the us is you and I paying attention
Mhm,
to the scared part.
mhm.
And I was thinking that the us necessarily needed to be us paying attention to the longing.
Mm, mm.
And it feels good that it's okay for the us to be you and me in this panic part.
Yes. And the longing. It's you and me and this panic and this longing.
Somos vos y yo, y este lugar de pánico, y este lugar del deseo.
And here we are, and we want to make a home for the panic,
Mm,
a home for longing.
Aquí estamos y queremos hacer un hogar para el pánico y un hogar para el deseo.
The panic part belongs to us.
La parte del pánico nos pertenece
The longing belongs to us.
y el deseo también nos pertenece.
mm. Yeah, the panic doesn't want to make a home for the longing. And there's
El
tension
pánico no,
between the two.
el
Uh-huh.
pánico no le quiere hacer un hogar al deseo.
Can we make a home for that? The conflict between the two?
Yeah, we can. We can.
Hacemos un hogar para los dos.
Everybody isn't always getting along in the house,
No.
right? I love that part in one of Gene's writings where he says, we're like this right now to the client.
Mm,
Me gusta
We
esa
have
parte
this in our home.
mm.
cuando Jen dice, estamos así ahora, en estas partes, estamos así de esta manera.
Maybe the panic wants to say something to the longing,
Quizás el pánico quiere decirle algo al deseo.
what that conflict is.
¿Cuál es ese conflicto?
Wants to speak up, maybe.
Quizás quiera hablar.
Mm. I'm still wondering if it's okay for that conflict
Mhm.
to be here with us and all of us, whether it's okay that it's such a argument, that it's so uncomfortable and stormy and
Mhm.
ugly between these parts.
Todavía me estoy preguntando si está bien que esté aquí, que este conflicto que es tan feo entre estas partes.
This is the big question, and I feel the conviction in your voice now.
Esta es la gran pregunta y siento la convicción en tu voz ahora.
And I love that you added all of us in the us, not just you and me, but the question is it okay to have this huge conflict in this us between the scared and the longing that is really, it's not just, it's really a conflict. Can't even agree to speak to each other in a way.
There's another part. There's a part that's it feels ashamed, and I think the panic was protective of that part.
Hay otra parte que se siente avergonzada y creo que la parte del pánico estaba protegiendo esta parte.
Yes. Something that's ashamed of the conflict.
Avergonzado del conflicto.
I'm taking that in because it feels very important.
Estoy recibiendo esto porque se siente tan importante.
Ashamed of the conflict between the fear and the longing.
Avergonzado del conflicto entre el pánico y el deseo.
I feel like I'm letting that part into the room now, that
estoy permitiendo a esa parte que entre ahora,
The part that's ashamed is,
Yeah.
is
la parte que
here.
está avergonzada.
Yeah.
There's something in me that's ashamed of this shit show, of this conflict, and
Yeah.
Hay algo en mí que está avergonzado de que esto se muestre, este conflicto.
Mm.
it's better in than out with the shame. I'm glad the shame's in the room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Y me alegro que lo avergonzado esté en este lugar también.
And now there's 4 of us hanging out in the room together.
Mhm.
There's
Y
4
ahora estamos todos nosotros
Mm,
en este espacio.
that feels okay.
Se siente bien.
Feels like a big breath there for me.
Como un gran respiro ahí para mí.
Better to have the shame show up in person and have a
Mhm.
place at the table.
Mm-hmm.
Como que es mejor que esté la vergüenza, que tenga un lugar en la mesa.
And I'm wondering about that big us.
Y
Mm.
pregunto por ese gran nosotros.
Is it okay for all of us to have the shame about the shit show of the conflict
Mhm.
between fear and longing?
Está bien que todos nosotros tengamos esta vergüenza por este conflicto entre el pánico y el deseo.
Well, it's there's the longing and the panic and the shame, and there's me, and we're all hanging out, and it feels okay.
El
So-
deseo, el pánico y la vergüenza. Y soy yo, y estamos nosotros. Está bien.
And if it's okay with me, and this feels okay, then I'm gonna let it be okay with everybody, with the bigger group.
Entonces, si está bien conmigo, voy a dejar que esté bien con el grupo grande, con todos nosotros.
If it's okay with you,
Hmm.
then
Si
you're
está
going to
bien,
let it be okay with everybody.
si está bien para vos, entonces vas a dejar que esté bien para todos.
I did not know I would be okay with it myself.
Hmm.
No sabría si yo mismo podía estar bien con eso.
And I needed to be okay myself before I asked the question whether it's okay with others, I think.
Necesitaba estar bien conmigo antes de hacer la pregunta de si estaría bien para estar con todos.
Yes, actually, what I meant wasn't if your shame is okay with others, but just felt like it's such a human thing that all of us might have some version of that.
Lo que quise decir es que es tan natural que todos nosotros tengamos una versión de eso, de esa vergüenza.
But maybe that felt like I was taking it away from
No,
you here.
that's
Quizás eso
interesting.
se sintió como que estaba sacándolo. No fue así.
The panic part and the shame part don't know.
La parte del pánico y la parte de la vergüenza no saben.
They don't know what the outside world's like.
No saben cómo es el mundo afuera.
Hmm. Mhm. And the longing, does it know?
Y el deseo sabe.
The longing feels like something very different.
Hmm.
El deseo es diferente.
Very different.
Mm.
Muy diferente.
I think the kind thing right now is to say some things out loud.
Mm,
Creo que ahora voy a decir algunas cosas.
the kind thing,
The kind thing.
kind thing.
Lo bueno.
Mm,
I would like to say that there's something in me that doesn't know whether he belongs and has
Quiero decir
such longing to belong.
mm.
que hay algo en mí que no sabe si pertenece y tiene tal deseo de pertenecer.
Something with such a longing to belong.
Algo con tal deseo de pertenecer.
And I have panic around that and shame both.
Y tengo pánico alrededor de eso y vergüenza, ambas.
That has panic and shame both.
Y tiene pánico y vergüenza, ambas cosas.
And how is it to say that?
¿Cómo es para vos decir esto?
Fact is, I don't know.
No lo sé.
I so much wanted that to bring some softness, and I'm not feeling the softness.
Yo quería que eso traiga cierta suavidad y no estoy sintiendo esa suavidad.
And I'm feeling stuck.
Mm.
Me siento estancado.
Yeah.
Before we were talking about going in the door, right?
Antes estábamos hablando de pasar por la puerta, ¿sí?
Mm-hmm.
And now my image is of you standing at the door, wanting to come in to the belonging
Mm-hmm.
and proclaiming yourself. Like, do I belong with this
Mm-hmm.
fear and this shame? Do you want me? Do I belong? And
Yeah.
it feels to me like someone needs to answer the door and throw the door all wide open, saying, yes, you belong here with the rest of the humans.
La sensación para mí es que alguien necesita abrir la puerta, abrirla hacia la puerta y decirte, sí, vos perteneces aquí, con todos los humanos.
Can you say that again?
¿Puedes repetir eso?
It feels like the door needs to be thrown open. I want to throw open the door and say,
Parece que la puerta necesita ser abierta y decir,
yes, you are invited to the party. Yes, you're on the list.
sí, estás invitado a la
The
fiesta.
shame and the fear and the longing. Yes, we're waiting for you.
Estás en la lista, con el miedo, con el deseo, con la vergüenza. Estamos esperando.
There's a placeholder right over there at the table, you know?
Hay un lugar ahí en la mesa, guardado.
And I'm not ready to step through the door and honor
No
that.
estoy listo.
Mhm.
No estoy listo para pasar por la puerta.
And let's say that and let that be
Mm,
right for now.
Dejemos que eso esté bien por ahora.
yeah.
You're standing at the door.
Estás parado en la puerta.
The fear and the shame,
Mhm.
El miedo, la vergüenza y el
and not
deseo.
ready yet.
Y no listo todavía.
You've taken many important steps
Tomaste muchos pasos, diste muchos pasos importantes
to proclaim yourself. There you
Para-
are at the door.
para proclamarte a ti mismo. Aquí estoy en la puerta.
Mm.
And it feels to me like it's really okay to be at the door. Make
Y se
yourself
siente para
at
mí,
the door.
está bien estar ahí en la puerta.
It's like that.
Es así.
Does that feel like an okay place to stop for now?
Yeah.
Se siente un buen lugar para detenernos ahora, por ahora.
Thank you, Jeffrey. I
No.
see you at the door there.
Gracias, Jeffrey. Te
There are
veo en la puerta ahí.
There are a couple of comfortable chairs on the porch there.
Ajá. Y hay un par de sillas cómodas ahí en la puerta, en la puerta.
Lynn, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Muchas gracias, Lynn. Gracias a vos.
So let's all take a breath.
Vamos a respirar todos.
We have about 20 minutes.
Tenemos 20 minutos más o menos.
I'm going to take a half a minute break to run and get a drink, and I'll be right back as we gather and we're ready to listen to what everybody has to say. And we're coming all together, the big us, to talk about what we've all experienced together. And
So I guess you would like people to come back with their cameras on as well then.
yes, yes. So we'll all come back with our cameras on. And I'll
Vamos
be
a
right
volver con nuestras cámaras. Lynn se va a tomar medio minuto y vamos a volver con comentarios a este gran nosotros.
And if you would like to be able to also see the people who choose not to keep their cameras on,
Si quieren elegir ver a las personas también, a las personas que eligieron dejar sus cámaras apagadas,
then you can click the on the top of your screen. It should now show my name saying Vera is speaking, and you can click that and select show non-video participants.
pueden cliquear ahí donde dice Vera está hablando ahora y les va a dar
Now
la
you,
opción.
Nati. Now
Les va a
you,
dar
Nati.
sí, les va a dar la opción de cliquear, mostrar a los participantes que no tienen video.
Okay, so now I'm speaking and you can see if you can
That
see my
didn't-
name.
That didn't give me the option. Vera.
Okay, can you not see my name on the top
Yes,
when I
but
speak?
I'm clicking it and nothing happens.
Okay.
Is there another way? In view.
Yes,
So
you
no
can.
video
You have to be in gallery view for that to happen. And otherwise, we might just be okay with it not happening and just seeing the people with cameras.
Mhm. Si eso no les da resultado, cliquear el nombre de arriba al medio de la pantalla. La otra opción es cliquear en donde dice vista. Y ahí está la opción también de mostrar a los participantes que no tienen video.
There is a more complicated way, but I don't think I'll say that now.
Hay una forma más complicada, pero creo que no la voy a decir ahora.
So it's so nice to see everybody again, the big us.
Es tan lindo ver a todos de vuelta, el gran nosotros.
Can you see me okay? It's gotten dark here, so.
¿Me pueden ver bien? Ahora está oscuro acá.
Do I need a light?
It's okay, we can see you. It's okay, it's okay.
If
We
you
can see
do
you
have a
quite-
light, it would be nice because it's a little hard to see your face. Unless it takes too long.
How is that?
Better, thank you. You look beautiful.
I was thinking now I can see myself clearly with my messy hair.
Estaba pensando ahora me puedo ver claramente con mi pelo hecho un desastre.
So, anything you have there, any thoughts, questions, feelings?
Algo que tengan ahí, algún pensamiento, pregunta,
Welcome.
van a ser bienvenidos.
Daniela.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey, and thank you, Lynn. This was so rich and
Gracias Jeffrey, gracias Lynn, esto fue tan rico.
I think this was so courageous. I mean, this is such a, it was really something like a therapy.
Creo que esto requirió de mucho coraje.
And such a sensitive space to be in for Jeffrey, it felt, and my God,
Un lugar tan sensitivo para Jeffrey.
It's so rich, so I cannot kind of comment on all the things I noticed, but just this thing when you, Lynn, kind of, you have these images kind of the process and somehow in some way, and then you said it like he is at the door. I felt that beautiful, and then oh, I'm
Tengo
sorry.
tantas cosas para comentar, pero voy a decir una, y es esto de las imágenes que vos tenías, Lynn, esto por ejemplo de la puerta.
Yeah, and then it was also like you were coming to the door.
Y esto de que estás viniendo a la puerta.
And that I found beautiful. It was a very kind of intense moment for me. The feeling of something moving in this way. But then at the same time, I also felt after what happened later, it can take a long time. I mean, to have the trust. So this we cannot just, you know, like fireworks. We cannot just, you know, oh, we have, you know, we all waiting for you. I mean, it's such a.
Fue muy could you stop a minute so I can just say thank you? Fue muy conmovedor sentir esto y también por otro lado pensar, uy, pero esto puede llevar mucho tiempo también. Okay.
Yeah, I lose my thread if I pause, but I just wanted to say it's a slow. It can be a slow process. This building and
este proceso de construir puede ser un proceso lento.
Yeah, and but yeah, but thank you both of you, and I still have a little problem with the us. I can feel this us makes me uncomfortable sometimes.
Todavía tengo un problema con este nosotros. Este nosotros a veces me pone incómoda.
And I don't know if it's I don't think it's what you are working with, Lynn, but it's the word. It makes me kind of, I'm disappearing in the us. It's something.
No es con lo que vos estás trabajando, Lynn, pero es la palabra, lo que significa la palabra para mí. Nosotros. Es como perderme a mí misma.
I understand that. Thank you.
Entiendo eso.
Jean felt that way too, that if we emphasize the us too much, maybe we lose the I.
Jean también pensaba eso, que si enfatizábamos demasiado el nosotros, podíamos perder el yo.
It's so important to always know that the us is the individual I's that make the us.
Es tan importante saber que el nosotros son los individuales yo que hacen el nosotros.
And all of the parts or voices in each of the I's.
Y cada una de estas partes eran voces, cada uno de estos yo.
Greg Madison has this lovely concept of the inner democracy and the
Greg
outer.
Madison tiene este concepto maravilloso de la democracia interna.
Like all of the voices need to be welcomed
Que
in the
todas las voces necesitan ser bienvenidas.
not only the two individuals, but also the fear and the longing and the shame. All of them.
No solo los dos individuos, sino también el miedo, el deseo, la vergüenza, todos son bienvenidos.
I also wanted to say that when I had the image of throwing open the door and welcoming.
También quiero decir que cuando tuve la imagen de abrir la puerta y dar la bienvenida,
that was a little too much, right?
Eso fue como demasiado, ¿no es cierto?
Like I was being an eager pup.
Como que yo estaba siendo demasiado ansiosa.
And Jeffrey was like, well, not yet, right?
Y Jeffrey decía, no, todavía no.
And that's okay too.
Y eso está bien también.
Yes, we can come in too close and then we're very fine about, yes, we'll be at the door.
Podemos acercarnos demasiado y después decir, bueno, está bien, estamos bien aquí en la puerta.
Anybody else?
¿Alguien más?
Marianne?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Lynn, that the relationship is so important in the interaction.
Estoy totalmente de acuerdo con vos, Lynn, que la relación es tan importante en la interacción.
And I think, like, I mean, how do I really know? But I have this idea that underlying us all the time is this real
Tengo esta idea que siempre está ahí por debajo de nosotros.
seeking connection, seeking the relationship with the other.
Buscando
And
la conexión, buscando la relación con el otro.
so, and then there's all these shy parts as well.
Y también hay partes tímidas.
So when I'm with a client, for example, I can imagine myself saying, how would it be if we kept this company?
Entonces me imagino cuando estoy con un cliente decirle, ¿cómo sería que le hagamos compañía a esto?
And then part of me would be wanting to say, now, how is that really like Does that feel right that we're here, or would it feel better? Does this maybe just need you in it? Or, and then I get into like, this is too much. Like,
Y luego me pregunto, ¿estaría bien esto, decir que nosotros estamos acá o quizás el cliente necesita estar con eso él solo? Esto es lo que me pregunto sobre que nosotros.
so this is like a theoretical example that I'm giving, but I'm trying to say there's like a struggle inside me of
Este es un
how,
ejemplo teórico que estoy diciendo, pero ahí tengo una lucha interna.
yeah, kind of how explicit to be at any, and where to draw the attention, and a concern that they're going to want to please me rather than really whatever this felt sense needs.
Y cómo ser explícita con el cliente con esto. Si quizás si yo ofrezco algo así, por ahí quieren complacerme a mí y dicen que sí.
Thank you for saying that.
Gracias por decir eso.
I think that so much of focusing therapy is trying things out and being always ready to change course.
Tanto de la terapia de focusing es siempre estar dispuesto a intentar cosas y al mismo tiempo a cambiar de rumbo también.
It's the improvisational spirit
Es el espíritu de improvisación
at the heart of FOT.
que está en el corazón de FOT.
So I might say, I like to say it this way, and I'll share this with you because it's very easy. I like to say, is it right to say blah, blah, blah?
Me gusta siempre decir, ¿está bien decir bla, bla, bla?
That's funny in translation.
Es graciosa la traducción.
Is it right to say that we can keep it company?
¿Está bien decir que nosotros lo podemos acompañar? Solo eso.
Jean taught me that we can say complicated things in a very little bit.
Jean me enseñó eso, que podemos decir cosas complicadas de a poquito y después observar.
So much as listening to the expression, to the feeling, to the felt sense of the us.
Tanto es escuchar a la expresión, al sentimiento, a la sensación sentida de nosotros.
And we'll know if it isn't right.
Y vamos a saber.
Is trying to please us, there'll be that in their eye.
Y vamos a saber si eso no está bien. Aún nos vamos a dar cuenta si la otra persona está tratando de complacernos. Lo vamos a ver.
But what I have said that I would like to say again.
Pero lo que he dicho, que quisiera decir de nuevo,
is that we always try things out and check.
Es que siempre intentamos cosas nuevas y chequeamos.
And why is it any different in talking about the relationship?
¿Y por qué sería diferente cuando estamos hablando de lo relacional? Es lo mismo.
I want to say also that in life, we don't get the opportunity to talk about the you and me.
Quiero también decir
Only
que
with young children or in romantic relationships is usually the only time.
Quiero decir que en la vida normalmente nunca nos tomamos mucho tiempo, como que nunca está bien hablar sobre lo que pasa entre vos y yo, salvo que sea en una relación o entre niños pequeños.
And so we don't know how to talk about the you and me.
Y entonces no sabemos cómo hablar del vos y yo.
It seems to me so important that we venture into that territory in a focusing way to find that language to make what's unsayable sayable.
Es tan importante que podamos entrar en ese territorio, en esta manera de focusing, de encontrar la manera de decir aquello que es indecible, convertirlo en algo que se puede decir.
I sound like I'm I'm selling you something.
Suena como si les estuviera queriendo vender algo.
Do we have time for one more comment?
¿Tenemos,
we
tiempo
have-
para,
Yes.
¿Tenemos tiempo para un comentario más?
So we have got 4 more minutes and there's nobody else with their hand up, but a couple of comments in the chat.
Tenemos 4 minutos, no hay nadie con sus manos levantadas, pero tenemos comentarios en el chat.
So Bob says, I was impressed that when he was stuck, you were able to accept this in a gentle way, but invited him to be with all of it.
Bob dijo, me impresionó que cuando él estaba estancado, vos pudiste aceptar esto en una manera tan gentil, pero invitarlo también a que estuviera con todo eso.
There's a principle of genes that I find so helpful for everything.
Hay un principio de Jean que yo encuentro tan útil para todo.
The principle is be on its side. So we
El,
need to
pri-
be on the stuckness side.
el principio es quédate del lado de esto. Así que en este caso estaría quédate del lado de eso que estaba ahí estancado.
And then there's one more comment that's Siodna, who says, I loved Lynn mentioning how not every part gets along in the house all the time, but then later that every part can be allowed a place at the table. It is the essence of home for me.
Fiona dijo, me encantó cuando Lynn mencionó cómo no todas las partes se llevan bien en la casa todo el tiempo, pero luego cada parte a cada parte se le puede permitir tener un lugar en la mesa. Esa es la esencia para mí de lo que es un hogar.
Thank you. I want to say that idea that we don't all agree or we're not all getting along in the relational home is very important. And the next step for me that I'm working on is how that translates into the communal realm, into the social political realm.
Me parece muy importante esta idea de que muchas veces en una familia, en un grupo, no todos están de acuerdo y que cómo podemos estar con esto y cómo esto es importante llevarlo a la comunidad, a lo político.
And you may be hearing more about our community empowerment project of using focusing to find a home that's big enough to embrace all.
Y van a estar escuchando más de nuestra comunidad sobre cómo usar focusing para encontrar un hogar, para poder estar entre todos y abrazarnos entre todos.
Okay, I'm gonna have to stop you there. I'm sorry. I just also
Voy a
wanted
tener-
to Mhm.
Voy a tener que detenerte ahí. Perdón.
And just letting you know that please, we would love to see you in the final gathering, and thanks.
Y hacerles saber a todos que queríamos verlos a todos en el último saludo.
I have put the link to the resources page for Sunday in the chat, and you can click that and go to the bottom and click the link for the final gathering, and thanks.
Ahí puse en el chat el link para entrar a la última reunión que tendremos juntos.
And thank you so much, Vera.
Muchas gracias, Vera.
Yes, and thank you, Nati. Thank you, everybody.
Thank
Y
you,
gracias, Nati.
Lynn.
Gracias
Thank you,
a todos.
everybody.
Thank you, Lynn.
Gracias a
Thank you.
todos.
Gracias.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
you soon. Wonderful to be
Bye-bye
with you.
now.
Bye.
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.